Hinterkaifeck murder case. The Hinterkaifeck murder case is a mysterious and unsolved crime that occurred in Germany in 1922. It involves the brutal murders of 6 members of the Gruber family, who lived on a remote farmstead called Hinterkaifeck in the small town of Wiedhofen, Bavaria. The case has remained a subject of intrigue and speculation for decades, and many theories and hypotheses have been proposed, but the truth of what happened on that fateful night remains unknown. The Gruber family consisted of Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and her children, Cecilia, Joseph, and Maria. Andreas was known to be a reclusive and somewhat eccentric man, and the family was said to have a strained relationship with their neighbors due to their isolated and aloof nature. The farmstead was also rumored to be haunted, adding to its eerie reputation. The discovery of the Hinterkaifeck murders was made by neighbors who became concerned when they noticed that none of the Gruber family members had been seen or heard from for several days. On April 4, 1922, Lorenz Schlittenbauer, a local farmer, went to Hinterkaifeck to check on the Grubers after not seeing any activity on the farm for several days. When Schlittenbauer arrived at the farm, he found the barn door locked from the inside, which was unusual. He also noticed that the Gruber's dog was tied up and barking aggressively, and there were no signs of life from the farmhouse. Sensing something was wrong, Schlittenbauer gathered a group of people, including his 2 sons and a few others, and they broke into the barn. Inside the barn, they made a gruesome discovery. They found the bodies of Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, and Victoria's daughter, Cecilia, stacked on top of each other, covered with hay. The bodies showed signs of violence and were badly battered and mutilated. It was a horrifying scene that shocked the discoverers. After finding the bodies in the barn, Schlittenbauer and his group proceeded to search the farmhouse, where they discovered the bodies of Joseph and Maria, Victoria's son and daughter, in their beds. The bodies in the farmhouse were also badly beaten and showed signs of violence. The police were immediately notified, and the investigation into the Hinterkaifeck murders began. The investigation into the Hinterkaifeck murders was complicated by several factors. There were no witnesses to the crime, and no clear motive could be established. Robbery was ruled out, as money and valuable items were found untouched in the home. The remote location of the farmstead made it unlikely that the murders were committed by a stranger, as the perpetrator would have needed to be familiar with the area to locate the isolated farm. Suspicion initially fell on several individuals, including the family's former maid who had abruptly quit a few months prior to the murders, as well as Victoria's estranged husband, Karl Gabriel, who had been reported killed in action during World War I but was later found to be alive. However, no conclusive evidence could be found to implicate anyone in the crime. The maid's departure has been a topic of speculation and intrigue, and it has been suggested that her leaving may have been related to the murders. The maid's name was Maria Baumgartner, and she had been working at Hinterkaifeck as a maid for several months before the murders took place. It is reported that Baumgartner had expressed concerns about strange occurrences and perceived disturbances at the farmstead. She allegedly told her sister that she felt uneasy and believed the house to be haunted. In the weeks leading up to the murders, Baumgartner had also confided in her sister about finding strange footprints in the snow around the farmhouse, as well as hearing footsteps and other unusual sounds at night. This reportedly caused her to become increasingly anxious and fearful. These footprints were described as being fresh and not matching the footprints of the Gruber family or anyone else known to have been at the farm at the time. The exact nature and origin of these footprints remain uncertain, and they have been a topic of speculation and intrigue in the Hinterkaifeck murder case. Some theories suggest that the footprints may have belonged to the perpetrators of the crime, while others propose alternative explanations, such as unrelated trespassers or even innocent footprints that were misinterpreted. The true reasons for Maria Baumgartner's departure from Hinterkaifeck remain uncertain, and her role in the case remains speculative. Victoria Gabriel became a suspect in the Hinterkaifeck murder case due to his past interactions with the Gruber family and circumstantial evidence that implicated him in the crime. Carl Gabriel was rumored to have fathered Victoria's youngest child, Joseph, who was born out of wedlock. This reportedly caused tensions between Carl Gabriel and the Gruber family, and he was known to have harbored resentment towards them. In addition, Carl Gabriel had a history of violent behavior and had been accused of assault in the past, further fueling suspicions. Circumstantial evidence also implicated Carl Gabriel. For example, it was reported that he had been seen in the vicinity of Hinterkaifeck on the day of the murders, and his alibi was considered weak. It was also reported that he had attempted to sell a watch that was believed to belong to one of the victims after the murders. However, despite these suspicions and circumstantial evidence, no concrete evidence linking Carl Gabriel to the crime was ever found. The postman's role in the Hinterkaifeck murder case has been a subject of speculation and intrigue. It is believed that the postman, who was a regular visitor to the remote farmstead, may have had some involvement or knowledge about the murders. According to accounts, the postman was a man named Joseph Mayer, who made regular deliveries to Hinterkaifeck. It is said that he was the last person known to have seen the Gruber family alive. On March 31, 1922, Mayer reportedly arrived at Hinterkaifeck to deliver mail but found no one home. He left the mail in the barn and departed, mentioning to others that he had seen footprints leading to the farm, but none leading away. After the murders were discovered several days later, suspicions were raised about Mayer's actions and his potential involvement in the crime. Some theories suggest that Mayer may have been having an affair with Victoria Gruber, the widowed daughter of Andreas Gruber, and that a dispute may have arisen, leading to the murders. However, no concrete evidence has been found to substantiate these claims. During the investigation, Mayer was questioned by the police and his behavior was scrutinized, but he maintained his innocence and was never formally charged or implicated in the murders. He continued to work as a postman and lived in the area for several years after the crime. However, he died in 1947 during World War II. There are accounts of mysterious sounds and occurrences reported in connection with the Hinterkaifeck murder case, but the exact nature and origin of these sounds remain uncertain and speculative. According to some sources, neighbors and locals reported hearing strange sounds coming from the Hinterkaifeck farmstead in the days leading up to the discovery of the murders. These sounds were described as footsteps, creaking floorboards, and even voices. It was reported that the Gruber family had also mentioned hearing these sounds. After the bodies of the Gruber family and their maid were discovered on April 4, 1922, the house was treated as a crime scene and investigated by authorities. The bodies were removed, and the farmhouse was searched for evidence. Later, the house was boarded up and remained abandoned for some time. The farm and the property were eventually sold to new owners, but the house was eventually demolished in 1923. It is unlikely that anyone lived in the house during the days following the discovery of the murders, as it was a crime scene and subject to investigation. It's important to note that the Hinterkaifeck murder case remains an unsolved mystery, and despite extensive investigations and speculations, the true identity of the perpetrators has never been definitively determined. The case continues to intrigue and puzzle researchers, historians, and true crime enthusiasts to this day.